Manipulation: How the Media Influences Our Minds. Through advances in psychology and neuroscience, researchers have discovered how the human mind can be unconsciously manipulated by the media. Evolutionary theory explains that our brains developed an adaptive ability to attend to potentially threatening stimuli in order to help our ancestors survive. Specifically, emotional stimuli linked to fear and survival, like depictions of danger or violence, automatically catch our attention on a cognitive level. When exposed to emotionally arousing content, our brains enter a survival state where critical thinking is impaired. We focus narrowly on the threat while ignoring other information. The amygdala, which processes emotions, activates more strongly than the prefrontal cortex responsible for reasoning. As a result, alarming messages and images more readily form strong, long-lasting memories that can subconsciously shape beliefs and behaviors. The news media understands this psychological effect and frequently employs fear-mongering tactics to boost viewership and spread partisan agendas. Negative stories featuring scary topics are disproportionately covered because they are attention-grabbing, despite representing a small portion of actual events. Viewing frequent distressing content also harms mental well-being by triggering anxiety, depression, and pessimism through prolonged activation of the brain's threat detection system. Likewise, social media influencers understand they can program audiences through emotional persuasion techniques like impassioned speech, frightening claims without evidence, and reliance on feelings over facts. Viewers exposed to one-sided propaganda presented in this arresting style may internalize those viewpoints without critical examination. Memories form through emotions, so triggering associated feeling can activate prior persuasion later when encountering alternative perspectives. Here are some additions to the post about cognitive biases and recognizing emotionally manipulative media techniques. Cognitive biases refer to systematic patterns of deviation from rational or optimal judgment that occur naturally in human decision-making. They influence how we process and interpret information in ways that can be exploited. Some common biases that emotionally charged media may prey on include confirmation bias, seeking or favoring information that confirms existing beliefs while ignoring disconfirming evidence. Availability bias, judging what is more likely based on what immediately comes to mind, rather than examining all factors objectively. Frightening examples are more available than statistical realities. Anchoring bias, relying too heavily on the first piece of information when forming opinions. Dramatic opening statements can anchor perceptions. Viewers should watch for non-objective techniques used to bypass rational thinking and activate biases such as aggressive or fearful tone of voice meant to invoke high emotion rather than foster discussion. Raising volume does not equal valid argument. Inflammatory language like labeling, personal attacks, and fear-mongering designed to provoke reactions over thoughtful consideration. Biased framing of issues by only highlighting certain angles without full context to manipulate conclusions drawn. Relying on feelings over facts by stating opinions as truths without citing credible evidence or acknowledging alternate perspectives. Appeals to existing biases, prejudices, or partisan leanings, rather than reasoned analysis of issues on their individual merits. Appealing to emotion through body language like angry gestures, facial expressions, or intense stares more than solid arguments and explanations. Developing media literacy helps inoculate against manipulation by recognizing when fear or outrage is being sold rather than information. Critical thought is the antidote to emotional propaganda. To protect the public from undue manipulation, regulations should discourage preying on cognitive biases and limit provocative coverage lacking constructiveness. Individuals can also build resistance by recognizing emotional appeals aimed to bypass logic, consuming a diversity of viewpoints, and maintaining an open yet skeptical mindset. The mass media wields powerful influence over society. Using psychology responsibly helps uphold standards of truth and public welfare over sensationalism. By Lena Kravitz.